I have no idea.
So all the kids with glasses out there, probably the ones that read the most comics, if you think about it. Fucking nerds.
I have glasses. The hell?
Sorry, I have supervision and you don't.
Yeah, whatever, you bitch. Okay. So, do you want to talk about Batman by Grant Morrison? Because that's a little bigger. Or we could talk about DC Rebirth really quick.
Let's talk about DC Rebirth.
All right.
Wait.
Rebirth.
Didn't we do a Rebirth?
We've talked about Rebirth. We did...
Flash?
We talked about Flash Rebirth.
Yeah.
It's different. Written by the same guy.
Okay.
And a rebirth in its own.
Is the Flash in this?
Oh, yeah.
So he kind of has two rebirths?
Yeah, this is the rebirth of another Flash.
Alright, let's get into that.
Yeah.
This is the Off the Shelf podcast. My name is Josh.
I'm Vinny. And today we're going to talk about DC Universe Rebirth.
Yeah. Oh, it's the whole universe, not just the Justice League.
It is the whole universe.
Okay.
So
this is a pretty thin book for the whole DC universe.
I know. It's... So, okay. Flash.
Yeah.
Flashpoint. Barry Allen.
Those are all words.
So Flashpoint happens, and the Flash runs so fast he saves his mom,
sure,
and then all that shit happens. And then after, he comes back, and that reboots into the New 52.
Yeah. Now
the New 52, which we've talked about, but not really what happens in it. You know, some people like it, some people hate it. I think it's alright. I think there's some good ideas in it. Like Batman Court of Owls. That was New 52. That was awesome. Aquaman's pretty cool. We'll talk about it one day.
Okay.
Shazam. Superman really sucks. The thing with New 52 is, since it was a reboot, you know, they told new stories, and a lot of people were upset how they treated certain characters. Like Superman, who's usually this, like, hopeful, wholesome, happy character, was really dark and, like, emo.
Okay.
Like, his parents, like, were already dead by the time he becomes Superman. And, like, he was just kind of an arrogant, mean guy.
Okay.
Like, he was more like, I'll fight before talk, you know? Characters like Green Arrow and Black Canary, who had this long relationship where they get married and whatever, didn't exist. Green Arrow and Black Canary never even talked to each other in the New 52. And one of the biggest things is Wally West the Flash, who we've talked about.
Yeah. Extensively.
Extensively. Yeah. Every episode we talk about the Flash. So, Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, we'll be talking about the Avengers, and we'll bring up the Flash.
Literally. So, Crisis on Infinite Earths, Barry Allen dies.
Yeah.
Kid Flash becomes the new Flash. Kid Flash is Wally West. And for a whole 20-something years, Barry Allen was dead. Mm-hmm. And Wally was the Flash. And, you know, Wally is known for having his red hair.
Yeah.
And so the reboot happens, and Wally West is nowhere to be found. There is a Kid Flash on the Teen Titans, but it's Bart Allen, who's from the future.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, where's Wally? Eventually, Wally West shows up, and he is a very different character than what everyone's used to. He's like a young African-American boy.
Okay.
And because everyone's racist... No, I'm kidding. Just because, like, it wasn't the same character. You know, like, they changed the entirety of...
They didn't like him?
No.
Okay.
And I wasn't a fan either. And just because, you know, you have all this history of this version of Wally West, and all of a sudden, like, you just throw it away. And create a character who is nothing like the old Wally West, so you could have just named him something else. But they gave him the name Wally West, and everyone was upset. So, DC, the New 52 ended. And Jeff Johns, who did do Flash Rebirth...
So, sorry, do you think people still would have disliked him if he just had a different name and was a different Flash?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, if he was just like... John! And the new Kid Flash, everyone would be like, okay, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, since it was that character that everyone was waiting for, and then you make such a, you know, different change with him, everyone was very upset about it.
Sure, yeah.
So Jeff Johns comes in, and after a book called The Dark Side War, where Darkseid and the Anti-Monitor from Crisis...
After Crisis?
Way after.
Okay.
They have a war.
You said they would come back.
Yes, I did. There was a big war between them, and we'll talk about it one day, but not now. Superman from the New 52 died.
Oh.
And...
Again?
The thing is, the New 52, since it was a reboot, he never died in the first place.
Oh, okay.
The New 52 was really weird because they really chose what...
Picked and choose.
What happened. Like, characters like Superman got a complete reboot. But Batman, everything that happened to Batman from, like, the 80s to then, that all happened. Same thing with Green Lantern. But characters like Wonder Woman and whatever, they all got new origins and stuff. So it was really weird. So Jeff Johns is like, okay, we know you're upset. So we're going to bring back what you like. We're going to rebirth it, in fact. Bring back the old DC. And at first, I loved this. You know, I bought this when it was a single issue, and I was like, oh man, it's so good. And then really quickly, I was like, oh god, this was a mistake.
Oh, okay.
So this book is cool.
Yeah.
This is like setting the stages for what will come in Rebirth. So this starts out with the watch. And someone's narrating. Someone's like, my grandfather or my uncle was like a watchmaker.
Isn't that in Watchmen?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So my uncle was a watchmaker.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a watchmaker, and my uncle gave me a watch that had, like, inscribed on the back of it, every second is a gift. In, like, you know, Gotham, I guess. And just across the world, there's, like, lightning, it's raining. And in Gotham City, Batman is, like, doing some detective work. Now, previously in the Dark Side War, Batman found out that there were 3 Jokers.
Okay.
Don't worry about that right now.
Okay.
Because no one will until way too late in Rebirth. So Batman learns there's 3 Jokers.
Are they all in Gotham? They're just doing the same thing?
Yeah, they team up.
Let's
not talk about it. Maybe one day. We'll have Jason talk about it.
Okay.
So Batman's doing detective work on his computer.
Yeah.
He's watching TV.
He goes, Pewter.
Yeah, Pewter. Yeah, he's voiced by Will Arnett.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, lightning strikes in the Batcave, and the original Wally West shows up in the Batcave, and he's like, Bruce, I need your help. And
that happens a lot, huh?
Oh, yeah. Whenever the Flashes are in danger, they're like, I need Batman. Because if anyone can figure it out, it's probably him.
You kind of talked about that in another comic where Batman and the Flash kind of have a mutual respect for each other.
Yeah. At the end of Flashpoint, Barry gives him the note that his dad wrote. That doesn't come up in this.
So they're kind of
actually
friends,
it does.
But it's just implied that they're.
It actually does come up in this actually.
Okay.
So I lied to you. Here's the dinosaur really quick.
Oh, I love the dino.
And
is it alive?
No.
I mean, like a robot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Robots are alive.
Like Vision.
Yeah. Is Vision alive?
Anyway, so Wally West is here.
Are you telling me you have to have a soul to be alive? Come on, Vinny.
I apologize. So
are dogs robots to you?
So Wally West shows up and he's like,
flesh robots. Sorry, continue.
So Wally shows up,
and
he was the one narrating. He was the one that was like, my grandfather was a watchmaker, my uncle, and his uncle is
really
Barry.
Fast watches.
Oh yeah. And his uncle was the Flash, Barry Allen, who gave him the watch. And so Wally is like, Bruce, I need your help. And Bruce is like, who are you? Because this version of Bruce is like the New 52 one. Or, here's where it gets confusing.
Okay.
Because the New 52 is a reboot, but everything happened.
Yeah. Right.
So if everything happened, they would remember Wally West, but for some reason they don't. And it turns out that some being that you'll learn about, and I'm just gonna tell you who it is later. Some
Is
being
it the anti-Mario?
no, forget about him. He's not in this.
Okay.
Some being has stolen memories and years from these characters. So the New 52, the thing is, like, the superheroes have been around for 5 years. But how could they be around for 5 years? How could Batman have 7 Robins in 5 years?
Yeah.
That's a horrible track record.
Yeah.
So it turns out someone stole like 5 years or 10 years from these characters that they just don't remember. Like, all their memories have been condensed. And Wally's like, you gotta listen to me, Batman! And Batman's like, I don't know what you are. Get the hell away from me. And then,
obviously, he's some Flash.
Some Flash. Yeah, and he's like, Barry? And Wally's like, no! And then he, like, lightnings away.
He's like, Barry, you dyed your hair.
Yeah.
And you have a stupider costume. Why is your hair out? Does it make any sense?
I don't know. I like it. Anyway.
No, I like it too,
Yeah.
but logistically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you gotta keep it short.
It's almost even, like, reverse Flash.
I always think that. It's... The only thing is, like, the reverse Flash symbol is reversed.
Right, yeah. I just mean the color scheme. Yeah.
So, Wally mentions, like, remember Flashpoint? Like, you remember when Barry gave you your dad's letter? Like, this all happened because of that. It all happened because of what Flashpoint is. So, Wally leaves, runs away with lightning. But, like, a lightning strikes the Batcave. In, like, a corner.
And then Batman becomes a speedster.
No. It just, like, leaves a crack in the Batcave.
Okay.
We'll get back to that later. So then we get, like, kind of an origin story for... Wally narrates his origin. He was like, my aunt Iris married this guy, Barry. He turned out to be the Flash. I became Kid Flash. I joined the Teen Titans. And then after Barry died, I became the new Flash. But it turns out, like I said, someone stole memories and these 5 years from everybody. And you see this image of, like, lightning and, like, blue.
Yes, I see.
Yes.
Lightning and blue.
Exactly.
So that's my favorite Gatorade flavor.
Of course. So, meanwhile, in, like, a elderly home, there's this old man running away from the guards. And this old man is Johnny Thunder, who is an old member of the Justice Society. He was like a guy who had, like, a genie.
Okay.
Like a lightning genie.
Okay. He granted wishes?
No, it was just like this genie
That's not a genie.
Listen, it lived in a thing. It lived in like a lamp or something, and it came out, and it was like a lightning genie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about genies for a second?
Okay, yeah.
So first of all...
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's called a lamp, because it's like a teapot. Right?
You're right.
And maybe it's like a cultural thing.
Maybe.
I have no idea, but I've always wondered that. Like, why is it called a lamp?
I've never thought about that.
I think Fairly Odd Parents kind of have a joke about that, right? Like the genie lives in a lava lamp or something.
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Oh man, I never thought about that.
Yeah. Anyways, that's all I had to say.
So Johnny Thunder is a member of the Justice Society.
Okay.
But in the New 52, the Justice Society never existed.
Oh.
But Johnny Thunder's like, I'm a member of the Justice Society. Like, where are all my friends? You know?
And they think it's just like dementia.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then Wally shows up in his room, you know, all the lightning and everything. And he's like, Wally, or he's like, Johnny, you are a member of the Justice Society. You're not crazy. And he's like, guards, I'm not crazy. And they're like, shut up, old man. And they beat him up or something.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Then, you remember that character, Saturn Girl, who I mentioned?
Yeah.
She's in this.
You didn't tell me anything about her.
Because I don't know anything about her.
Yeah.
But she is in this, and she's being interrogated by police. She's like, I'm from the future. And she has this ring, which is the Legion of Superheroes ring. And so it's like, and the Legion of Superheroes, I don't even think we're in the New 52 either. So it's like, the heroes of old and then the heroes of the future in the New 52 didn't exist.
Well, of the future.
Well, of that we've
wouldn't
seen.
exist anyway.
Well, yeah. But it's like they will never exist in the future.
Yeah.
So something's really weird with the timeline, right? And you could chalk it up to that guy who, like, stole the memories and stole time from these characters.
Yeah.
You meet this new character, Ryan Choi, who, you know the Atom? Who like Shrink?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the Atom's little lab assistant. And he gets into like the lab, and the Atom is like in the microverse.
Okay.
And the Atom's like, Ryan, okay, I am stuck. I cannot get out. But I built you a suit, and I need you to come rescue me. And Ryan's like, when I'm there, how are we getting out? And Atom's like, we'll figure that out later.
That's a dumb plan.
Yeah. So then we cut to Blue Beetle. The Ted Cord Blue Beetle who hangs out with Booster Gold, and the new younger Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes. And in the New 52, Jaime. Yeah, in the New 52, Blue Beetle never existed.
Okay.
Like this, Ted Cord was mentioned, but he never became Blue Beetle. So he's like, it just shows him like, Blue Beetle's here now, you know? And again, if he never existed in the New 52, but everything still happened, that doesn't make any sense.
Does this beetle ship say bug on it?
It is named the Bug.
The Bug,
Yeah.
okay.
So this is like the new Blue Beetle's costume. He wears a scarab that gives him like this armor.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Can I say something? So that ship that he had looks a lot like the owl plane or whatever in The Watchmen.
Yes.
That's kind of cool.
The reason for that is because Blue Beetle is the character Alan Moore wanted to use. So all of the characters in Watchmen are like versions of characters from the Charlton comics.
Yeah.
So like the comedian is supposed to be Peacemaker.
Okay.
And Dr. Manhattan is supposed to be Captain Atom. And Blue Beetle, or Night Owl is Blue Beetle and all that. And then all those characters will be folded into DC Comics anyway.
So it's like...
But before that, DC was like, you can't use those characters, but if Alan Moore waited like a year or so, you know. So Dr. Fate shows up to Blue Beetle and is like, I'm Dr. Fate and I'm magic. And Blue Beetle's like, oh wow. And
I'm Blue Beetle, I'm blue.
Yeah. So this book is like, there's a lot of things like the Atom and Blue Beetle, and that stuff's not going to be followed up in this book. It's more like it's going to string off into its own books.
Okay.
So this is, like I said, the setup for DC Rebirth. But if we do talk about any other DC Rebirth books, then this is important to talk about.
Sure.
So then we get kind of a montage of like the new Robin, Damian Wayne, who is Bruce Wayne's son, who we will talk about when we talk about Grant Morrison's Batman. You get the new Green Lantern, Jessica Cruz. You remember Power Ring?
Yeah.
His ring is the ring she uses. Like, eventually she gets her own Green Lantern ring, but like I said, the Power Ring and the Crime Syndicate come back.
So Power Ring was a Green Lantern then?
Yeah, but like of a different Earth.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
So were the other Green Lanterns of that world called like the Power Corps?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. There's this character.
Was it still green?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's just Green Lantern, but called Power Ring.
Okay.
Different costume. Yeah, but it was made in the 80s, who cares? I don't think they ever meant for them to come back, but then they did. There's this character, Pandora, who was introduced in the New 52, and she was kind of dumb. Not a lot of people liked her. Her name was Pandora. She had a box.
Pandora's box.
And then she opened the box. And out came the Crime Syndicate.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. So right off the bat, she's blown up in this.
Okay.
By something.
Sure.
So we follow with, and Wally West is like watching all this happen from like the Speed Force. The deal is like he's been trapped in the Speed Force. Like someone put him in the Speed Force against his like, willingness. We get a whole splash page of like a bunch of superheroes. They're all talking about how the New 52 Superman died.
Yeah, okay.
And he was killed by like Darkseid, the Darkseid War. So you just get to see like new costumes and new versions of your old favorite characters. You got like Martian Manhunter,
Mr. FBI.
yeah, right here. Here's Captain Atom. You got Beast Boy down here.
Oh, nice.
Green Arrow.
I haven't seen Beast Boy in any of these comics.
I know. Well, he was actually... No, I think he was in Crisis.
Oh, really?
But not, nothing Beast Boy could have really did.
Yeah.
against like
what's like a Green Jaguar gonna do against the Anti-Monitor?
So then, in this big like scene with all these characters, Green Arrow and Black Canary are both conveniently here, and they like share a look between each other, and then like they just glance at each other.
Oh, it's not like a sensual look.
Kind
of
of is
looking into each other's eyes.
They are. Oh, well, I mean, it's like a quick glance, but it's like they know each other, you know. But they don't know why they know each other because they never shared their history
to
their knowledge. No. But when they like go back home, they think about each other.
Okay.
You know, so Green Arrow's like, I know her. Like, obviously she's a superhero, but I feel like I've had a whole life with her.
Yeah.
And same thing for Black Canary.
So they're starting to remember things that technically didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we pick up with pre-52 Superman. So there was the new 52 Superman who died.
Yeah.
And then the pre-52 Superman was like plucked out of pre-Flashpoint and put here.
Okay.
By the same guy who's fucking up everything.
Yeah. He's got a cool beard.
He does have a cool beard. He's also married to Lois Lane.
Nice.
And he has a child.
Okay.
Named Jonathan Kent, who's like 10 years old.
Yeah. So that answers the question if he can have a kid with a regular woman.
Yes. And they're living, since like Superman died, like everyone thinks Superman died because their version did, and now all of a sudden there's a new one. He's kind of laying low, so that's why he has the beard.
Yeah.
They also
Incognito Superman.
Yeah, they changed their name to like he's like Clark Smith instead of Kent.
Sure.
So they're the Smiths. Superman is visited by this becloaked man named Mr. Oz.
Mr. Oz.
Yeah.
From the Wizard of
Yes,
him?
it's the come to see the wizard. Yeah, and so the Wizard of Oz shows up, and he's like, Superman, some shit's gonna hit the fan soon. And Superman's like, what? No, I don't want to. Like, come on.
Like, if only I had a brain.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's still super though, right?
He's exactly Superman, just with a beard, and he's
not fighting crime. He's just a guy.
He's like fighting local crime.
Oh, he is.
Yes,
just not in a suit. Or?
He has like a black suit, black and silver suit.
Okay.
We see Aquaman, and he proposes to Mira, who's his girlfriend.
She's the one that can control water.
Yes.
Cool.
She is from like an aqua dimension.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we going to talk about Aquaman someday? Cause,
we will. We'll talk about Aquaman soon.
We'll probably answer some questions
yes.
there then. Okay.
Yes. So then, back to Wally West stuff.
Yes, and FBI man.
Yes, FBI man. So Linda Park is... I mentioned her when we were talking about The Flash. She is Wally West's wife.
Okay.
But she doesn't remember Wally West here. So Wally goes to her in his lightning form and is like, Linda, it's me! And she's like, I don't know you. Like, what are you? You're horrifying.
She's like, I think I'd know if I knew a guy covered in lightning. Yeah.
And Wally's like, ah! You know.
Oh, he actually says that.
Yeah, right here.
Arrs!
Yeah. And then he's whisked off somewhere else.
Okay. He's just getting tossed around by the Speed Force.
He is. He's like trying to find people who would remember him, and no one does. You get to see some like...
It's sad.
It is very sad. There's hints of like upcoming stories. So these two characters here, Gotham and Gotham Girl.
Okay.
Yeah, they show up for a little bit, and
Gotham Girl.
Yeah.
And Gotham.
Yep.
That's like if you had a hero duo named New York City and New York City Girl. Like,
it is just like that.
That's stupid.
It's horrible.
Chicago Man.
We're gonna talk about it one day. That I hate it.
Okay. They're like Batman and...
They're Batman characters. They'll show up in the Batman run for Rebirth. And Gotham is like, the bat signal, Gotham! And he's like, it's not time for us yet.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. We get to see Constantine and Swamp Thing hanging out.
Oh, that's cool.
Because they're just buddies. They're just chatting. And then, like, Barry goes to Nightwing and Cyborg and, like, Captain Boomerang. Like, just people who might remember him and no one knows him. Like, everyone's like, what? Lightning Man? Like, you're not the Flash I know. What's going on? You get to see Wally finds out that there's a different Wally West, the New 52 one, and he's this kid right here.
Okay.
And he sees him like, save people, and he's like, there's a Wally here, and he's not me. Like, what is going on? Why is this so weird? And then Wally's like, if there's anyone at all who would know who I am, it's Barry. I need to find the Flash.
Yeah.
And Barry's like fighting, or there's a house that's on fire, or a building that's on fire. I think it's an apartment building.
Okay.
And Barry saves every single person in there, and notices that one of the kids that he saved is hungry. So Barry goes and I guess he makes 100 pizzas.
It looks like he bought them.
Yeah, but later it shows him
Oh, he goes to the store
there
and makes them.
And makes them himself. He also cleans up the kitchen and everything.
That's cute.
And I guess pays for it. And he
nice.
brings all the food to the people who are waiting there. And I think actually when this book was coming out, in New York City Midtown Comics, Jeff Johns, the guy who wrote this, actually did that. There was a line of people waiting outside, and he bought pizzas for everybody.
That's nice.
Yeah, Jeff Johns and the other people that worked on this book. So Barry's, being a good superhero, and then all of a sudden Wally shows up, and Wally's like, you don't know who I am, but I promise, you should. I'm Wally West. I'm your wife's nephew. We have this huge history together. Without you, I wouldn't be me. And Wally's you can see he's deteriorating.
Yeah.
The Speed Force eventually will consume him forever, and he'll be gone. And Barry's I don't know you. I don't know who you are.
But as the Flash, as someone with experience with the Speed Force, he should know something, right?
Yeah.
He should be okay, obviously, he's not lying.
Yeah.
He's obviously
but it's just
speedster.
it's not Barry's fault though.
Yeah. Yeah.
For some reason, someone really hated Wally West and whoever created this new timeline. And so Wally's I'm gonna die. I'm gonna be sucked into the Speed Force forever, and all I want to say is yeah. And Wally's thank you for an amazing life. And then you see Wally when he was a kid and everything, and he's dying, and then all of a sudden Barry's Wally, and he grabs him on his arm and pulls him out of the Speed Force. And then they Wally's I'm back, and they share a hug. And I remember when I was reading
electric hug.
Oh yeah. And Barry's how could I ever forget you? And I was reading this it's so good. And then Barry's oh yeah, I remember, Iris, you're her nephew, you became a member of the Teen Titans, you were Kid Flash, you became Flash after I died, I guess. I don't know how I could ever forget someone as important as you. And then Wally's yeah, you gotta help me remind the world that I exist. And Barry's okay. But Wally's also there's a mysterious force or this godly being that's doing all this, and we got to get to the bottom of it.
At the
Batcave with the dinosaur again.
Epic dinosaur.
Batman goes over to where the lightning shot the cave, and he gets his little tools and he starts digging in there, and what he finds is the button the comedian wore in Watchmen.
Oh.
And then
I didn't expect that.
Yeah. Okay. And then it goes to Mars.
I just mentioned the Watchmen,
yes,
too.
you did. And then it goes to Mars, and you hear what Dr. Manhattan says to Ozymandias at the end, where in the end nothing ends, nothing ever ends. And it says the doomsday clock is ticking across the DC universe, signifying that Dr. Manhattan is the one who rebooted everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not at all what I had it.
No.
I couldn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah. Go into it.
You could look through this.
Okay. The art is really cool.
The art is very good. There's a lot of different artists on the book, but all the art is very, similar? And not in, a bad way. It flows very well.
On the cover, there's this... What's that painting? Is it, Salvador Dali?
Yeah.
The Touch of God or whatever?
Yeah. It is literally that.
Yeah.
And I guess that's Dr.
That
Manhattan.
must be him. You just see his forearm. Mm-hmm. And I guess that makes Superman David.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And the thing with, like, Dr. Manhattan is...
Or Adam? Wait, who is it in that painting?
I don't remember.
Whatever.
But Dr. Manhattan's like, I'm going to go away and create my own worlds.
Yeah.
So people were thinking, like, did he create the DC universe? That's kind of weird. He didn't. He just, like, rebooted it, I guess.
Okay.
So...
He has the power to do that. I mean,
he does.
Obviously.
Like,
yeah, he could.
The thing is, I have no problem with him being able to do it. I just have a problem with him actually doing it.
Yeah.
Because in my head, Watchmen is Watchmen. You don't need to touch it in any way. You don't need to bring it into the normal DC universe. You know, Watchmen is its self-contained self.
Yeah.
There's nothing you could add to it to make it better.
So what happened with the Atom guy?
Oh, you never find out.
Ever?
Well, probably. In a book I didn't read.
Okay.
The Ryan Choi, the little Adam's assistant, he joins the Justice League of America, which is a team Batman puts together to do other shit.
So this book is just kind of setting up a bunch of stories.
It is setting up, like, everything that will come.
Okay.
I bought this the first day it came out because I was so excited. And I read it, and I was like, oh, that's... I think it's a really great starting point.
Sure.
Even though, like, you know, say what you will about the Dr. Manhattan stuff, I don't really like it. But for me, bringing Wally West back, giving Green Arrow and Black Canary their due, bringing back Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
This was like a love letter to me. Whereas, like, here's everything you loved.
Yeah.
That the New 52 took away from you. Here you go, Vinny. And I was like, thanks, man. Thanks, Jeff. It could only get better from here. And let me tell you, it didn't.
Oh.
Because, so, Jeff Johns was working on Doomsday Clock, which was like the sequel to this, like explaining what was going on with Dr. Manhattan. It was announced in like 2017, and because of so many delays, it came out like 3 years later. But it's not like they announced it and then it came out 3 years later. The first couple issues came out and then it got delayed. So if you read like issue 1, 2, and 3, you would wait like a year for issue 4. So like it never came out. It's finally wrapped up now. And I didn't read it, but I think I'm going to and talk about it on this show. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at this bald Superman.
That's Lex Luthor. He builds his own Superman costume.
Ah, yeah, okay.
I will say, there's a lot of stuff with Rebirth that is not great. The best thing about it was Superman, which is awesome because the best thing about the New 52 is Batman. The worst thing about it was Superman. And then in my opinion, Rebirth, the best thing about it was Superman, and the worst thing about it was Batman. The Superman run by Peter J. Tomasi is so beautiful because it's Superman being a dad, and he's not in Metropolis, he's in Kansas, you know?
Yeah.
So it's Superman having a family, and it's awesome. We'll talk about it one day.
There's like another speedster maybe? What is that? Who's
that?
That
is Wally West. He gets a new costume.
Oh, he gets a red costume?
Yeah, okay. I will...
Because it looks like the same one, it's just
red.
Now that the new Wally West has his costume, he had to get a new one.
Yeah.
Okay. So while Dr. Manhattan is out, was it Mars that he went to?
Yeah.
And he's making his own little glass house or whatever?
Yeah.
He's also like resetting the DC universe?
Yep.
That's what he's doing?
Sure.
Okay.
I have a little plethora here of
He's like, I'm so sick of being involved in people's lives.
Let me make my own.
Get involved in this universe.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Okay.
So here's the Batman run by Tom King and David Finch. David Finch, who we talked about in Avengers Disassembled and Moon Knight.
Yeah.
The art is beautiful. I read all of these when they were coming out in floppy issues. I've read this Batman, all 6 issues.
Floppy issues?
Yeah, back issues.
Is that like another name for ED? You got
floppy
hey,
issues.
Some floppy issues.
And the art, the awesomeness of this art fooled me into thinking I liked this story. I know people like Tom King. I know people like this Batman run. And I'm sorry, I hate it. not to be blunt or anything.
Just like in a...
I don't think he understands Batman. He makes Batman really suicidal.
Oh, okay.
So this book is called I Am Gotham. The next book is called I Am Suicide.
Oh, really?
Batman puts together his own Suicide Squad. But he's also like, I put on the costume to feel like penance for like the death of my parents, and one day I'm gonna die as Batman. Like, it's almost like he wants to die. And I'm not a fan of that. And I think Tom King doesn't write Batman very well. He writes him very robotic. Like, he's a robot learning what emotions are. And, you know, Batman's, like, you know, very stern and, like, whatever. But he's still a guy.
He's still a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and the Batman run before it by Scott Snyder, The Court of Owls, in my head I was like, oh, I could infer that this Batman likes music and he eats food and like he has a good time with his Robin sometimes.
Yeah, like, you know? The Lego Movie.
Yeah, but this is like, they try to get him with Catwoman.
Okay.
And it's just the most like poorly
forced.
written.
Okay.
It feels so forced, but it shouldn't, because they've had this long history.
Yeah.
Where they should be like peanut butter and jelly, but instead it's like peanut butter and like shit. Like, it doesn't mix good. Like, it doesn't taste good, man. Like, it's I'm not a fan of it. We'll talk about it one day.
You're not a fan of peanut butter and shit?
No.
On your sandwiches?
No, I'm not. On like pumpernickel bread. You know, like it just doesn't.
Hey man, don't diss pumpernickel.
Listen, nothing against it, but mixed with peanut butter and shit, it's not gonna taste
Any
great.
bread mixed with peanut butter and shit, it's gonna be bad.
No,
come on.
Whatever. You got, you know, Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
This is a cool one. I don't know if we'll ever talk about it. But one of the best ones was Super Sons, where Superman's son and Damian, Batman's son, team up. And it's really fun.
Okay.
It's just like a fun little, like, 2 12-year-old boys team up and get into hijinks. Here's the Lex Luthor with the Superman suit.
Yeah. It's almost Teen Titans-esque.
It's very Teen Titans or Young
Justice.
Justice.
Yeah.
It's very much like that.
That's cool.
You got the Suicide Squad, which is like the version from the first movie. This book kind of sucks.
Like the first movie?
Like the first movie. It's not bad.
It looks cool.
The art's great. It's by Jim Lee, who we talked about before. It's cool. They fight General Zod, which feels kind of wrong.
Yeah.
But they're fighting this godlike being.
Like, they wouldn't be able to fight General Zod.
Yeah. And it's also like, these are the characters from the movie, you're not going to kill any of them. So very rarely in the Suicide Squad in this book does someone die.
Which is wrong.
And the one character that does die, spoilers, is Captain Boomerang. Which was surprising, but then they just bring him back. Using magic.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh.
I mean, like, the thing is, right, Zod could easily kill
everyone.
But especially, like, Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That seems, just wrong.
It is wrong. Like, none of these characters... What? Deadshot. What is he
gonna shoot him?
Like, okay, shoot him with kryptonite? Maybe.
Hit him with a baseball bat? Like,
I don't know, man. But Titans was one of the best ones.
It looks cool.
Which is where Wally West goes back. Here he is, in his new costume. He goes and meets up with, like...
The old Wally West?
The old Wally West. He goes to meet the original Teen Titans, which is Nightwing, Arsenal, who was, like, Green Arrow's sidekick.
Okay.
Donna Troy, who was Wonder Woman's sidekick. Aqualad.
Yeah.
I know Aquaman's sidekick.
Yeah.
And this is Lilith.
I don't know.
I don't think she was anyone's sidekick. She was just on the team. She's like magic or something. This is like an original version of the Teen Titans, and they all get back together in this book.
But they're not teens anymore. They're
Titans. Adult. That's why they're the Titans.
Yeah.
And then there was a Teen Titans book with like Damian, the other Wally West.
Sure.
I didn't read that one, but it was probably good.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I was so on board for Rebirth. I was so excited, and like really quickly it went downhill for me. There was a lot of events that I didn't like. Batman and Flash do team up for an event called The Button, where they figure out shit about the comedian's button and why it's here.
Yeah.
It doesn't answer the question of why the button's here. They take their time heavily with Rebirth. And by the time it gets to Doomsday Clock, it feels unnecessary and stupid.
You read Doomsday Clock?
I did not. I read the first 3 issues of it, and then it got, like, delayed.
Okay.
For, like, 4 years. And I was like, okay.
Like, how new is this? When did this happen?
2016 or 17.
Oh, okay.
So, like, we're still in the Rebirth era now.
Okay.
I mean, there might be a few eras after it, but there wasn't, like, a reboot yet.
Yeah.
It's probably on the cusp. I think there's a new crisis coming out called the Dark Crisis.
Oh boy.
There's
to get it.
Yeah, I know.
We can talk about it.
There's a lot of events in Rebirth. There's Metal, which is the Dark Knight's Metal, which is a big Batman event, multiverse versions of Batman, baby.
Dark Knight Metal?
Yeah.
Why is it called? It's like heavy metal or what? Like, what is that?
Well, there's a metal in the DC universe, Nth Metal, which is like really powerful.
Okay.
Then there's a sequel to Metal called Death Metal.
Okay.
I didn't read Death Metal. The first Metal was good. It's very crazy. We'll have Jason talk about that shit.
Okay.
He was buying it when it was coming out. I just got the collected version.
Metal?
Nth Metal.
That's Nth Metal.
Nth
Okay.
Metal, yeah.
Is there an Nth Metal man? Because there's like...
We'll
those
talk
other
about
metal folk.
Sure, we'll talk about it.
Is there actually?
I don't know. I don't remember. All I remember is like many multiverse versions of Batman. So there's like an Aquaman Batman.
Oh, really?
And like a Joker Batman and a Flash Batman. And
the Batman who smiles or whatever.
Who laughs? Yeah. You were so close.
I was. I had it in my brain. I just didn't get there.
But I've been meaning to get Doomsday Clock. I will, and I'll read it. I remember just not liking the first few issues, but this was very promising when it came out. It's just a shame.
Yeah.
Broke my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I don't know, I don't think Watchmen needs a sequel. They try to do prequels.
Oh, I get it. It's called Watchmen because that one guy's dad made watches, and he was a watchman. I get it now. I finally understand.
And the team was called the Watchmen.
Yeah, but they were called that because the guy made watches or fixed them.
Sure.
That's why it's called Watchmen. They all wore watches.
Ben 10 was on the team.
Yeah, I mean Ben 10 is a watchman.
He is a watchman. Isn't that what's the name of Grandpa Max?
Yeah.
Grandpa Max had a team of plumbers. Oh, is that what they were called? The plumbers?
Probably.
Where they dealt with like multiversal time shit or whatever. Do you remember that? Were they called the Watchmen?
No, were they?
I don't know. They were like the Watchmen or like
the Watchers.
I think they might have just been the plumbers. They were like plumbers, but
they were like
just like
Ghostbuster plumbers.
Yeah,
sure.
They weren't real plumbers. That was just what they called themselves.
Okay.
I don't know. Ben 10.
Yeah. What would you give this book?
Probably not a Kevin Levin out of Ben 10.
Yeah.
When it first came out, I'd be like, sure, Kevin Levin out of Ben 10. Like, a few years later, I'll give it like a 5. No, I'll give it like a 6.
Mix 6 out of Ben 10. I don't know. What rhymes with 6?
Dicks.
A Dick 6 out of Ben 10. There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's a name too.
Yeah, Dick 6.
Oh.
But we'll talk more about like other Rebirth stuff, especially Superman and Batman, even though I'm very upset.
We didn't talk about Superman Rebirth yet, did we?
No, we did not.
After Birth? What was it?
Birthright.
Birthright, that's right.
After That's horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked about Birthright. We'll talk about Rebirth because it is very good.
Okay.
It's cool seeing Superman be a dad.
Yeah.
And figure that out.
I still have questions about that, and I don't think logistically he would be able to have kids with Lois Lane, but
that's what Mr. Oz says.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna just tell you who Mr. Oz is. I'm just gonna tell you who Mr. Oz is. It's Superman's dad, Jor-El from Krypton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he didn't die.
That's stupid.
Oh yeah.
How did he get there? He was just hanging on to the ship that he threw Superman out in.
Oh, man. I don't even remember.
What, he's just been hanging out in the shadows while his son grew up?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Why would he do that?
I don't know. He's a villain.
Oh, he is?
Kinda. He kidnaps John, their son.
Okay.
He doesn't kidnap him.
He's like, I want to see my grandkids.
I guess. Peter J. Tomasi wrote Superman for a while, and it was really good. And then Brian Michael Bendis, who did Ultimate Spider-Man and a bunch of other shit we talked about, he leaves Marvel and comes to DC.
Yeah. And
I remember, and I actually have it right here conveniently, not because we're going to talk about it, I just have it here. And I don't know if it's going to say it, but when Bendis was on his way to DC, there was like posters and everything that said Bendis is coming, and I remember seeing that, and I was like, what? And
he's where?
Yeah, it's not in this book, but it said Bendis is coming, and I was like, ew.
Like spell it like that.
No, and he was coming for Superman.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened.
He's leaking.
But in what I think happened is DC asked Bendis, they're like, what do you want?
Yeah.
And he was like, I want to do Superman. So
he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think...
No, I mean like writing. Come on. Get your brain out of the gutter.
I apologize. So I think DC was like, oh, you want Superman? Okay. And then they just like took Peter J. Tomasi off the book. Like they just kicked him off.
Oh.
Which sucks. Because then Bendis came in and just ruined everything he did.
I thought you liked Bendis, though.
I do. I like Bendis before, like, 2017.
Okay.
Or 16. Everything now is like... Oh, boy.
It's like he hit his peak already.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Spider-Man and stuff.
Yeah, with, like, the Marvel stuff, he was really good, and then 2016 happened, and, you know, kind of went down a little bit. And then he went to DC and started doing Superman, and it was really bad. Then he did a Batman book, which was kind of good, called Batman Universe.
Okay.
Maybe we'll talk about it.
There's a universe of Batmans?
No.
Oh. And there's like an Aquaman one?
No. Batman Universe is kind of not a great title for the book.
Okay.
Because
it's like Steven Universe, but with Batman?
Sure.
Okay.
Batman has like a
gemstone in his belly button. And he rubs it and a little shield comes out.
Just like that.
I didn't watch a lot of that show.
Yeah, it's just like that. He has
Okay.
a gemstone in his belly.
Sure.
He has a glass Fabergé egg.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that real?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, no, it's in the book. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he has it, and everyone wants it.
Why?
Because there's something inside.
Okay.
It's silly.
Yeah.
But so are comics.
Man, you're really ragging on Bendis, but how many comics have you written?
0.
Yeah.
But I'm just a critic. I just spend all my money on them, so they better be good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a fit.
Customer is king.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, Bendis. Get your shit together. Man, friggin' so John Kent becomes a new Superboy.
Sure.
And he's like 12, and then Bendis comes along, and is like, John's gonna go to the future, and then when he comes back from the future, he's like 18 or 17, so then like, but Damian is still 12.
What does he do in the future?
He hangs out with the fucking Legion of Superheroes.
Okay.
And he comes back, and then he's way older than Damian, so now the Super Sons, how they're both like 12 years old, it doesn't work anymore. So Bendis not only ruined Peter J. Tomasi's Superman run, he also took Action Comics and ruined Super Sons. He ruined 3 books by just saying, I want to write Superman. What? He also I don't know, man. We'll talk about it one day. It makes me so mad. Yeah.
Oh. Comics. They make you so happy and so angry.
I know. Some comics like New Frontier, I'm like, And then other comics like anything now, I'm like, I'm like Hulk.
Yeah. That's his secret. That's why he's always angry.